Hello, and thank you for joining us on this magnificent Monday evening. I'm Benny Nezaj. Coming up, protests in Spain against Nicaraguan elections, a study on e-cigarette users, fallout surrounding Aaron Rodgers' vaccination controversy, and a look at your week's weather. All this and more as PS News starts right now. Here's what's happening around the world. It's crunch time for critical climate talks in Glasgow as the COP26 summit enters its final week. After some big pledges from world leaders last week, negotiators need to hash out exactly how to make good on those promises. And one question raised, should wealthy industrialized nations pay reparations for damage already caused by climates? To highlight the devastating impacts, Tuvalu's foreign minister recorded his COP26 message in knee-high waters, illustrating the challenges the country is facing. Island nations like Tuvalu are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Tuvalu has established a small island commission on climate change and international law alongside the Caribbean island of Antigua and Barbuda. China's military is using mock American warships as targets. That's according to the United States Naval Institute. The USNI reviewed these satellite images from Maxar Technologies. The USNI says they show mock targets shaped like American aircraft carriers and ships in a Chinese desert in southwest Xinjiang. One of the three mock-ups appeared to be a Ford-class aircraft carrier, which is currently being constructed for the U.S. Navy. The USNI says China has repeatedly used the area for its ballistic missile testing. Dozens of Nicaraguans who live in Spain took to the streets of Madrid Sunday to protest against the presidential election taking place in their home country. Their intention was to express their disapproval of President Daniel Ortega and the election, claiming it is illegitimate. Ortega and his wife, Vice President Rosario Murillo, have denied all criticism of the election posed by international organizations. The Nicaraguan government insists the election is legitimate and abides by the country's laws. And now let's take a look at this week's weather with Charlie.
Thank you, Benny. I'm your PS News meteorologist today, Charlyn Garcia. Let's take a look at your North Country weather. We're going to start off with our neighboring cities. St. Albans City is going to have a high temperature of 55 degrees. Heading down south, we'll have Williston with 57 degrees. Going next to Plattsburgh again, at Dannemora, we'll have 53 degrees. And for all Sable Forks, we'll have 55. Owl's Head and Vermontville will both have 54 degrees. Now to take a look at your 5-day forecast. Starting off with tomorrow, we'll have a mostly cloudy sky with 54 degrees. On to Wednesday, we'll have a little bit of rain, but still mostly cloudy skies with 52 degrees. Going into Thursday, we'll have just clouds with 48 degrees. And to just get our weather forecast just back up on board, thank you. Heading into the weekend, we'll have rain again with 52 degrees and mostly cloudy skies and on to Saturday we'll have mostly cloudy skies again with 50 degrees, and that is all for our weather. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll head back with national news.
Fitty Sports has been serving its communities, local high schools, youth commissions, clubs, and other businesses since 1984. We specialize in trophies, screen printing, sporting goods, embroidery, office apparel, uniforms, hats, t-shirts, and more. Regardless of the size of your project, you will have the full participation and dedication of our design team. No job is too big or too small, keeping you involved every step of the way so that your vision is our design. Stop into Fitty Sports or call us to see what we can do for you.
Welcome back. Here is tonight's national news. Some $6 million lost in a ransomware attack over the summer has been taken back by officials. Monday, the Justice Department announced law enforcement seized the ransom payments from a Ukrainian national who was arrested in Poland last month. According to the indictment, the 22-year-old is accused of using ransomware on a Florida-based software firm over the 4th of July weekend. That attack infected up to 1,500 businesses around the world. The suspect is facing several charges, including conspiracy to commit fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. He's being held in Poland pending the extradition to the U.S. A Russian national is also facing charges in the case. We are learning more about the 8 people who lost their lives in a deadly crowd surge at the Astroworld Festival in Houston. Among the victims, 16-year-old Houston area high school student Brianna Rodriguez. That's according to a GoFundMe account her family established. Rodriguez was a junior at Houston Heights High School. The family says her passion was dancing. The other victims ranged in ages from 14 to 27 years old. A civil lawsuit has already been filed against organizer and rapper Travis Scott, along with promoter Score More and entertainment company Live Nation. Authorities are still trying to determine who, if anyone, might be charged. Scott posted on Instagram that he's sending out prayers to the lives lost, adding that he's been working with Houston authorities. The Biden administration is sending out deportation notices to 78,000 migrants. These individuals were recently released into the U.S. after crossing the border with Mexico. According to 2 sources, they received notices to report when they arrived instead of notices to appear. A notice to report puts the onus on migrants to initiate their own legal process instead of giving them a specific court date. Now officials are sending packets with that information. Immigration advocates worry that the packets might not reach migrants who don't have an official address. That would cause them to miss their court dates and possibly be removed from the country without due process. A new study shows e-cigarette users are more likely to have early strokes than traditional cigarette smokers. Researchers at Icahn School of Medicine at New York's Mount Sinai Hospital looked at almost 80,000 records over 3 years. They found stroke victims who vaped had their strokes at a median age of 48 years old. That's 11 years younger than the 59-year-old median for cigarette smokers and 2 years earlier for stroke victims who both smoked and vaped. Tobacco in any form still comes with massive health risks like cancer for users, and cigarette smokers are still many times more likely to experience strokes overall. It's unclear what led to the strokes, but they speculate it could be the nicotine found in both products. Now when we come back, we'll have a quick look at your sports with Harrison Gereau. Stay tuned.
Botany Club is a group of students who enjoy learning about and experiencing the natural world, especially plants, through various activities, trips, and service projects. If you're interested in joining Botany Club, please join us at Hudson Hall on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And for more information, reach out to us on Instagram at Botanical Society SUNY Platts. Hope to see you there.
Welcome to PS Sports. I'm Harrison Gereau. Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers has lost his first sponsor over his controversial decision not to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Wisconsin-based Previa Health announced Saturday it is ending its partnership with the NFL's reigning MVP. As part of its mission, Previa Health encourages all eligible populations to be vaccinated to protect themselves and others from coronavirus. Rodgers had been a spokesperson for the primary care health organization since 2012. While the quarterback claims he is not a COVID denier, Previa Health says his financial endorsement deal with their company is terminated as of Saturday. Former NFL receiver Henry Ruggs III was charged Friday with new felony counts tied to this week's car crash that killed a woman. Ruggs now faces 4 felony counts and 1 misdemeanor. On Tuesday, the former Las Vegas Raiders player was initially charged with DUI, resulting in substantial bodily harm, and a count of reckless driving. There's now another DUI charge, resulting in death, along with an additional reckless driving count. Ruggs is also charged with possession of a gun under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Prosecutors say Ruggs was driving more than 150 miles per hour when he rear-ended the victim's car, killing the 23-year-old woman and her dog. Ruggs allegedly had a blood alcohol level of more than half the legal limit. Ruggs was released from custody this week after posting $150,000 bail. A law firm hired by the NBA and WNBA will now investigate allegations that the majority owner of the Phoenix Suns and Mercury franchises used racist and sexist language for years. A spokesman for the NBA calls the allegations extremely serious. The investigation comes in the wake of an ESPN report that details numerous alleged examples of Robert Sarver using the N-word and other inappropriate language. Dozens of people were interviewed by the sports network, with many saying the language created a hostile work environment within the organizations. One of the interviews were with a former Suns head coach, Earl Watson. Sarver calls the report inaccurate and misleading, saying the N-word is not part of his vocabulary. Sarver has been majority owner of both the Suns and Mercury since 2004. The law firm hired for this investigation is the same one involved in the probe of allegations of racism against former Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling in 2014. That's all for tonight's sports. Let's throw it back to the desk with Benny.
Thank you, Harrison. It looks like that's all the time we have for tonight. Be sure to check out the Plattsburgh State TV YouTube to watch all of our programming, including this broadcast. Premiering at 7:30 tonight on our YouTube channel, the third episode of Faith Rogers' The Other Side. Be sure to check that out. And this Wednesday, Cardinals hockey makes its return to PSTV. We'll be bringing you the #1 in the nation Plattsburgh State women's hockey team as they take on the #7 Norwich University Cadets. That game starts at 7 p.m. right here on PSTV. Now, whether you're watching from home or on the go, you can find PS News on social media at PS Newsroom and all of our shows at Plattsburgh State TV. Thank you for watching, and have a good night, Plattsburgh.